Pats winners again, 8 in a row, 9-2. Only 9-win team in football. We got a text about this earlier. They're like, they play more games than everybody. I'm like, no, I know that.
I don't think so.
I understand.
Best record in football.
They are still, whether they played more games than anyone else or not, they're the only 9-win team. That's true.
Let me be the first to say this.
Sure.
They didn't make the schedule. They didn't.
Nope.
So they play a bunch of trash bag teams. They haven't had their bye yet, and they played Thursday night. So they've played 11 games. Other teams have played 9.
Right.
I get it.
Yeah.
But it is a fact that they are the only 9-win team in the NFL.
This is true. Yeah. And, I don't think it's fool's gold with the Patriots, a la Cam Newton, who thinks the Patriots are fool's gold. But as I said earlier in the hour, I get not believing in the team more than I get that weird Bart Scott take where he's like, Drake May should be MVP. That, to me, blows my mind.
Yeah, and even if he's not your MVP vote, that's fine. But to be like it's an insult to other guys that he's even included is, like, wild. Like, now you're just trying to get people to talk about you. Because it's funny when you say, or Cam, I guess, says fool's gold. Because as a Patriots fan, over the last 6 years, I feel like we've had a bunch of different versions of fool's gold. Mm-hmm. 2019, actually, was fool's gold.
It was.
And Brady even knew it. You could see his face. He was miserable because they were winning games. They were playing backup and third-string quarterbacks. They were 8-0. Gronk called them out in the media.
Gronk told us. He's like, he's the most miserable 8-0 quarterback in the history of
football.
football.
So he knew it. And so you're like, well, 8-0 is 8-0. You can't do any better than that. But that was fool's gold because they weren't a great team, and then they lost to Vrabel in the playoffs. 2021, when they were 9-4.
Definite fool's gold?
All time. Actually, no, I skipped one. Cam Newton, for 2 games, was also fool's gold.
Oh, yeah. Brief.
Cam Newton, they had a win.
Brief fool.
And then he threw for like 400 yards against the Seahawks. Julian Edelman had more receiving yards in a game with Cam Newton than he ever did with Brady, which is a wild stat.
N'Keal Harry probably, too. He had a good game. Game. He probably had more yards than with Brady.
So in 29... Okay, 3 straight years, actually, thinking about it. 2019, fool's gold for one reason. 2020 for really just Cam Newton. And then 2021, 9-4, they win the wind game over Buffalo. And we're like, oh, this could be, dare I say, a Super Bowl team. So it's like, well, we've seen it before, but those were all different versions. I don't see it with this one. They're not relying on simply beating the bad teams. I'm not ignoring the fact that there's been bad teams, but beating Buffalo and Tampa Bay, and then the way they've beaten some of the other teams. I know last night wasn't, a true blowout, but they've had a few of those. They've had a few teams where they've smacked them around. Cam Newton and Mac Jones were never true MVP candidates after 11 weeks. And that's what Drake May is. And I feel good about the coach. I feel good about the defense outside of the opening drives. Like, there's a lot to like about this team.
All due respect, like, Mac was nowhere near the caliber player of Drake May. Cam in his prime might have been, but not the Cam here in New England in 2020. And, May's not Tom Brady, but May is playing like Tom Brady has in MVP seasons in the past. But in 2019, you also weren't getting vintage Tom Brady. You were getting Tom Brady, who was all butthurt about his contract and ultimately left for Tampa Bay. So you weren't getting the best of Tom Brady that year either. This year, you have a quarterback playing like an MVP, which none of those years, as you pointed out, they did. Now, and I want to get the stat right this time, but I was reading Mike Reese today.
Yeah.
This is
Give him a reread.
Well, there's two stats in there. I crossed my stats.
Okay.
Reese has the first one on teams. The second one is on second-year quarterbacks.
Okay.
After finishing 4-13 the last 2 years, the Patriots are just the 4th team in the last 25 years to win 9 of their first 11 games after having 4 or fewer wins the previous year. The other teams are the 2013 Chiefs, the 2016 Cowboys, the 2019 49ers. None of those teams won the Super Bowl. Kansas City and Dallas did not win a playoff game. The Niners in 2019 got to the Super Bowl and lost to the Kansas City Chiefs with Garoppolo. So KC was one and done. They won 11 games that year, lost to the Colts. Dallas was one and done. They won 13 games, lost in the divisional round to Aaron Rodgers, and the Niners made the Super Bowl but lost. So that's the team stat. The other stat is with quarterbacks. Reese wrote that over the last 20 years, May is the 4th QB in his first or second year to lead his team to 8 straight victories. Dak Prescott, Carson Wentz, Lamar Jackson are the others. Now, I already told you about Dallas in 2016 with Dak. They went 13-3 and lost to Green Bay. Philly won the Super Bowl that year, but Wentz got hurt, and they won it all with Nick Foles, as we know. So that was a really good Philly team. Wentz was brilliant that year, was never the same, but they were still talented enough to win with their backup quarterback. Kind of an interesting test case there. And then Lamar in 2019 went 14-2, won 14 games, and lost to Vrabel and the Titans. So there is an example of a Super Bowl winner crossed over with those stats, but it wasn't the quarterback who was on pace to be an MVP who won that for him. It was actually Nick Foles.
Right.
So if
Weird
you want to
one.
look to fool's gold, quarterbacks in year 2 have been in the same spot May has. They didn't win. These teams have been in a similar spot to the Patriots. Those teams did not win, though Garoppolo got there. I think if you want to point to the Patriots as fool's gold, I guess that would be how you do it, but I don't believe any of that.
Yeah, but it's also one of those things where you're like, all right, is it fool's gold like Super Bowl or bust? Because before the year began, it was if they make the playoffs, it's a wild success.
Yeah, so how do they validate their regular season? You got to win a playoff game?
Well, the way it's going now, you do have to change. Right? I think that's fair to change your expectation because you're seeing not only them play every game for 10, 11 weeks, but you also see what the landscape of the league is. But I'm not going to ignore the fact that making the playoffs was a huge step forward, and that's one that is like that to me is a wild success. But then let's see what it looks like. We already said there could be so many different possible first-round opponents. You might not even play in the first round.
Correct.
The way things are. You might even skip past that. You're off to such a good start. Or, the Bills catch you, right? Maybe you drop the Ravens game, you drop another game, including the Bills game, and whatever the tiebreaker is. You have an awesome season. You lose the tiebreaker to the Bills, and now you're on the road, and you're playing, at Denver.
Right.
And you're like, oh. And you lose a hard. I'm not going to lose my mind if that ends up being the case. But yeah, I think now the expectation is like this should be a divisional round team. Right now, I think it could be a conference championship team. Like I think it's okay to change your expectations and kind of pivot off of what you thought at the beginning of the year.
617-779-7937. And I agree with you on that. It's okay to raise your expectations for the team. Yeah. And them losing in the first round won't be a failure if they lost on Wild Card Weekend or if they lost in the divisional round after a bye week. I don't think that would be a failure, but I do think everybody who said it was fool's gold would turn around and they'd be right. I mean, I think that would prove their case. One text here, guys, you can't use past teams. Jesus. Different coaches. Don't compare this. My God, why are you doing this? First of all, it's Mike Reese, so you can send,
take it up with Reese.
You can send this to Mike Reese. These are his stats that I found interesting.
Just good stats.
And I would tell you, other teams have been here and haven't won Super Bowls.
No.
And so that's all I would say. But I feel like this team can break the mold because I think May is playing at a higher level than any of those other guys.
Yeah. And then this is more big picture. This is another one of the stats they mentioned last night that I want to throw in for stat of the week nominee.
Okay, yeah, toss it in there.
They had a quick graphic during the game last night. Many of you probably saw it where they were like, the youngest quarterbacks to start this season, and Drake May is the third youngest quarterback to start this season. The only two younger are J.J. McCarthy, who stinks, and Jackson Dart, who's a rookie. So you're like, it's not just, and we know he's young as his second year, but just like to put it in perspective like that, with all the young quarterbacks and with all the second year and even a bunch of rookies that have started, he's even younger than those guys.
Yeah.
So like Dylan Gabriel's starting, he's younger than him.
I mean, he'll probably still be
younger than Cam Ward.
He'll probably be younger next year. That's crazy. He'll probably be younger next year than Jaden Daniels was as a rookie, or Bo Nix was. He'll still be younger than Jaden Daniels going to the NFC Championship game or close to it.
So there's a lot of wild little stats like that. I still think the favorite would be Nick's stat that he started with yesterday. The Jets don't have an interception, and that showed out in the game. There was a couple times where they had a chance for an interception, but they don't do that.
How is Justin Fields not throwing an interception?
No. The Jets.
Oh, the Jets as a defense.
Defense haven't picked off the other team.
Fields does have one. You're right. You're talking about the other way.
No. They have no takeaways.
Richard Sherman was beside himself at
It's
halftime.
a wild stat.
They could have had one last night.
They should have had one or two.
May had two throws that could have been picked off.
Yeah.
The one bomb to Williams down by the goal line was May's worst throw of the night. That probably should have been picked.
They've played, what are they at, 10 games? And have
the Jets, yes.
0 interceptions.
They have one takeaway.
It's wild. What a crazy
They're actually now at minus 12 differential because they fumbled last night.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Michael said this. He's like, and that fumble, the takeaway they have wasn't even in the U.S. He's like, they have no domestic. No domestic.
Like Kyle Pitts touchdowns now.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's a good line. No, but that's crazy. You just go up and it's not like they've only played great quarterbacks, but you're like, they can't cause a turnover on defense.
617-779-7937. Travion Henderson, Steph Diggs, Mac Hollins, and Diggs had a couple of drops. Hollins had a play he could have, maybe should have reeled in. Good play by the defender.
Yeah,
but you're still allowed to catch it, and I kind of thought Hollins would. That was a beautiful throw by May late. So I think they could have helped him a little bit more. But between Henderson, Diggs, Hollins, I went in the offseason, Keith, from wondering if they had any weapons to now I'm like,
too many.
they kind of have not too many, but they kind of have a lot when you get Booty back.
Yeah.
never mind Hunter Henry, Mr. Thursday Night. Didn't score last night, but had a good shot, too.
No, but he's been very good.
Add Ramondre to the mix. You know Vrabel's going to have him out there. As long as he's not fumbling, he'll make plays here and there. Like, all of a sudden, they have quite a few playmakers, which I never saw coming.
No, so the last couple of years, there'd be times they would break the huddle, and you would look out there on the field, and you're like, whether it was Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi, Jacoby Brissett, or even Drake May, we started to start, you're like, who's he throwing to?
Yeah.
Who's he handing it to? Well, like, where are you going to go for a play? And then now you're like, you line up with Henderson, and then you have Diggs, Hollins, and then Booty coming back, or even Pop Douglas. They don't use him as much as they like kind of had to the last couple of years, but it's benefited him, and he's good for a couple big plays a game now. It feels like, and then because of all those surrounding guys, Hunter Henry's back to where he kind of was in 2021, pretty effective, and so yeah, then you throw in the fact that Drake May can also keep plays alive. He can scoot. Didn't have to really scoot too much last night, but you know he has that ability to do it. Another stat of the week now. Didn't they say they have more plays, or maybe they're second in the league in 20-yard plays?
Oh, X plays?
Yes, they're second in the league in 20-plus yard
Those
plays.
are X plays. That's how Vrabel likes to refer to those, yeah.
That's wild. What a change in year to year. I feel like they never had 20-yard plays over the last couple of years, and now they're at the top of the league in that? Like, that's really impressive. Like, talk about one single change, like these big-time plays they can make.
Here's a good question by the text line.
All right.
And I'd say this in all honesty, not
No, this seems like legit.
Jones, when these playmakers get locked up in the playoffs, are you going to say May has no weapons?
No.
I won't. I won't. They have enough weapons to win and go on a run. I believe that. Now, could they upgrade him in the offseason? Sure. But I'm not going to if May has a crummy game, I'll say May had a crummy game. I won't blame the weapons.
With the game last night, Diggs now back on pace for a 1,000-yard season. They haven't had that since 2019. That's another one of these stats.
Diggs in primetime.
Diggs in primetime, which would be all the playoff games. He's a guy that is no joke.
Henderson the last 4 games, I think he's great in Tampa, and I think he's been really good in the other 3.
And then Hollins and Booty and Henry. I mean, we're talking about all these guys, but they've all played up.
They have enough. I won't say they lose a playoff game because Drake May was a weapon short or receiver short or whatever. We'll put it on May.
No, if he has a bad game now, he has a bad game. Meaning, like, the last year when he played, you're like, well, who do you want to throw to? Or like, oh, he's running for his life because the O-line's getting him killed.
Even the Tampa game, I was like kind of disappointed in that. I said that wasn't a good May game. I didn't blame the weapons in that game, and they won. And I threw for 270. It wasn't like it was a horrible game, but I didn't think he was great in that game. We said it then. We'll say it again if that happens. If that happens in the playoffs.